Wednesday, everybody. Matt is on rum and Coke myself on a Wednesday afternoon. You guys are getting after it fairly early. Steve C, compromise, Irish cream latte. Very nice. Some day drinking in here. Or maybe it's not the afternoon for Matt. Matt, where are you from? Where are you from, Matt? Sorry, I'm going to have to move these up to 1:30 each week because I have some scheduling changes in my life. Let's see. Yep. All right, Matt, it's 7:30 there. Very good. Good for you. It's okay if you want a day drink too. It's all right. Maybe you work the mid shift. Where are you from again, Matt? Raleigh. Steve Zeidman, all the way from Raleigh, North Carolina. Just north of South Carolina. Matt's in Ireland. Okay, so this is all making sense now. The day drinking. I'm kidding, Matt. Olaf from Chicago. Dan Wilson. Lovely profile picture. Not even going to try. Hi, Randy. Hello, Mr. Antunes. Matt got a kick out of that. I don't want to be like stereotypical. I'm from Wisconsin. Steve Warfield. Brazil. Very nice. Portuguese. That's what they speak in Brazil, correct? I don't know. Never been to Brazil. I had a friend, though, that just flew into Brazil. Hey, Randy, tuning in from Derby, England. We always have a fine representation from our friends in the UK on these live streams. Kevin Garner's from New York, though. Enrique from Mexico. We have more international viewers right now than from the United States or North America. Helsingborg. I don't even know where that's at. New Delhi, India. Love the channel. My goodness. You need to review the Magnapan LRS Plus with a Schkit Vidal Sassoon. I would love to. I don't think they're going to be sending out a pair of Magnapans anytime soon. I would love to, though. That guy, I don't know. I've never talked to him. Brian Romska agrees with you. Hamburg, Germany. Wow. Malta. Come on. Do we have anybody here from North America? But this is awesome. I love it. Okay, we got someone from Virginia. Mansky's from up north. Lancaster, New York. Roswell, New Mexico. You know what? I have one of my favorite mugs is from Roswell. Jean Sibelius. St. Louis, Georgia, USA. Sweden. Oh my goodness. I would love to go to Sweden. My wife's got some Swedish ancestry. Boston. I know Boston's not as exciting as Europe. LOL. Boston's got some serious history. I got thrown out of, what was it? It's a baseball field there. Not Wrigley. Greenwall. Come on. I can't think of it. Truly a worldwide family here. Very much so. What did I get thrown out of? I got thrown out of the baseball field there. Why can I not think of the name? Wisconsin, Richmond, Virginia, Fenway. I got thrown out of Fenway Park. Yes, Fenway. London. Oops, I was on my Arsenal account. Yep, Fenway Park. Sorry, Steve. Brain's not working perfectly today, unfortunately. Greetings from Lithuania. My goodness. Iowa, waiting for the winter storm to start. Poor John. John just sounds like he lives in the worst area ever. Tucson, Poland. Can you review Emotiva T3? I would love to. I will talk to them about that. So are these starting at 1:30 now? Yes. I have to update my calendar. I apologize. I had some scheduling changes with the family. So if we start at 2, I'm only going to be on for like 20 minutes. But if we start at 1:30, I can be on for almost an hour. So 1:30 now, unfortunately. I actually scheduled it as 2, but then changes. Sweden is just cold and rainy in these parts. Movie. Encinitas. Movie. Good afternoon. Metallica has a new album coming out called 72 Seasons. Yeah, they actually have a single off of there that's already been released. It's pretty good. I like it. And when in Wisconsin, also waiting for the winter storm to start. Well, y'all be careful. Get some extra blankets. Get some wood if you have a wood burning fireplace. Maybe get some DVDs. Hi from Athens, Greece. Wow. The only place that is worse than here is Nebraska. I have a tendency to believe you. However, where I lived, it did not get nearly as cold as where you live. I'm 4 miles from Yummy. New M83 is coming out soon. What is that? What's the M83? Is that a NAD amplifier? What up, Ed Zach? Storm is indeed coming to Wisconsin. This is what I love about my audience. Our audience here is we're all like older dudes. And so the weather is always a hot topic. No pun intended. We always want to talk about the weather because there's a bunch of old dudes. We like talking about the weather. French band. Okay. I'm sorry. I missed that one. I missed that one big time. Cleveland, thank you for all your brains. Person turquoise waving. Wisconsin for the win. I ordered the Shelly DAC. Wow, what great people. So accommodating. Yes, they are the best. The best. Anyone have a good wireless kit for wiring a sub? Well, funny you mentioned that. I actually just did a wireless sub. So SVS has a kit, but these kits have been out for a long time. If you're in the US, you can probably roll down to your local Best Buy and get, there's a brand called Rocketfish. I don't know if they're still around, but they've been around for a long time. And they have a wireless sub. You're just taking the signal from the sub out, and then you have a transmitter and receiver, and you plug it in. But I legit just did that upstairs, did a wireless sub with the SVS wireless subwoofer. Actually, it's not even a subwoofer adapter. It's just a wireless adapter because it has 2 channels. But you can do 2 subwoofers with it. Or you could do if you had pre-outs, like on your rear surrounds, which probably most people don't. But in theory, if you had pre-outs on your wireless surrounds, you could do that and then run an amp in the back and then do your surrounds from there. Steve has the ESS. It's very similar. Best DAC amp for iPad. It doesn't really matter as far as your source. It's all going to be ones and zeros anyway. But any DAC, topping E50, JDS Labs, J2. For your iPad, though, I think you may need to get the Lightning to camera adapter output for it. You can't just get the Lightning to USB unless they've changed that recently. Highly recommend the SVS Sound Path sub feet. Huh, there you go. Need to play with JBL Studio 590 and Schit equipment. I don't have a contact at JBL. All the JBL stuff I have done has been stuff that I've purchased. So yeah, I don't have a contact at JBL. I should try to find a contact at JBL. Chris Studebaker's in the house. The J2 is awesome, no matter the flavor. But I agree, there is upgrade-itis associated with the AK chip. Center versus Phantom. Are you asking me that? I don't know. I generally, right, upstairs I run a center. Downstairs I do not run a center channel. Okay, newer iPads have USB-C out. There you go. Then you don't need anything. If it's a Lightning, though, I think you need the Lightning to camera adapter, which looks identical to a Lightning to USB adapter, but it's not, and it won't work, unfortunately. Hey, Cheap Audio Man. I just purchased Sony SSC and IEMA. Love your videos. Very cool. I hope you like that combination. Finally made it to Sky Labs in WDM, and it did not disappoint. Kevin cracked me up with his dry humor. Skylab. Oh. Is that yes, in Iowa, right? Yes. Correct. Lightning to camera USB Apple adapter. Very good. Yes, you would need the camera adapter if your iPad or iPhone has Lightning. There we go. What do you think of the IEMA A08 Pro pair with ELAC Unify UB52 2.0? I was literally having this conversation yesterday. Actually, it was the A07. I think the A08 Pro will work well with the ELAC Unify UB52s because it comes with an upgraded power supply. But I think the A07 with its stock power supply may not quite have the juice. It's going to make sound, of course, but I think the A08 Pro is a better bet for that because it does have a beefier power supply. If you can get even a beefier power supply, then that would be even better. But at that point, you're going to be spending another $50 to $100. So you could look at something like the Yamaha AS301 or something like that. All right, I like to use a USB-C dongle DAC on my iPad because they are compact. I have an Audio Engine DAC 3 that works awesome. Very good. Get a Meanwell power supply. You know, I've looked into those, and you would think it would be super easy to find, I don't know, like a 48-volt Meanwell. But they're not as easy to find as you'd think they are. I wish they were, but they weren't. I looked for 48-volt 10 amp. I looked for 48-volt 5 amp. I looked for any combination from Meanwell because that is what the amps use are Meanwell power supplies, and I think they're well respected. I couldn't find one. Would a Yamaha AS701 on its own or Cambridge Audio AX35 with a Schmidt Manny be better? It depends on the speaker because the 35 is putting out 35 watts. The AS701, I'm not sure what the horsepower is on that one, but I know it's higher than the 35. The difference is the 35 is going to sound remarkably different from the 701 because the 701 is a little bit almost thin sounding on its own, if it sounds anything like the 801, which I imagine it does. The AXA35 is a very robust, warmer sound. So it also depends on what type of turntable or what cartridge you have. If you have super efficient speakers, then the 35 may be the way to go simply because it's a lot more affordable. And I kind of enjoy its sound signature. I wish the AXA line had like a 100-watt option because I would be all over that amp. The 35 is great. It's great power and is going to be enough for most people, but it depends completely on your speakers, depends on your phono preamp or your phono, your cartridge, and then it also depends on what sound signature you're looking for. The Manny's a pretty neutral phono preamp. Cambridge is a little bit warm sounding though, which I like. Randy, you saved me $700. Bought Manny Multibit. Awesome sound. Very good. Have I heard audio vector speakers? I have not. Unfortunately. I have not. Did I miss any super chats? No super chats. The AXA 100 is rated at 100 watts. It is, but it does not sound anything like the AXA 25 or 35. So after the AXA 25 and 35, they did something different in their higher wattage integrated amps. And I'm a fan of the 25 and the 35, not so much the AXA 100. What will be better? Yay! $6.88, $6.88. Very nice. Thank you, Bubblehead. Hooah, Navy. Thank you very much. What's your between the AXA 35 and M? I'm not sure what that means. Frugal Audiophile says, oh, okay. I don't know if it's their amp design. I don't know if it's the power supply. I don't know what it is, but yeah, 25 and 35 are like old school kind of British sound. And then the AXA 100. A lot of people like the 100. If it were me though, if I had speakers that are efficient enough for the 25 or 35, I would go with the Cambridge Audio. If I didn't have efficient speakers, then I would go with something like the Yamaha AS301. CRBLF4, $4.99. Thank you. Hey, Rainey, I'm sometimes having issues with dialogue. Get a center for my Cambridge SX50 or upgrade to KEF Q150. $300 right now. Small-ish bedroom. What are you running now? Get a center for my Cambridge SX50 or upgrade to the KEF Q150. It also depends on what you're watching and how it was mixed. Netflix notoriously has very poor dialogue mixes. It's not poor, it's just that it's lower compared to the ambient tracks as far as like what's going on around them. So it depends on what speakers you have right now. Personally, I'd probably get a center if you're doing multi-channel, because then you can just raise and lower the center level. Probably a little bit easier. Oh, they're rolling in now. At Best Buy Home Theater, I noticed that the Macintosh amp power level meter shows that the Star Wars movie was only using mostly 2.5 and 25 watts. Yet why do we want amps with more power than that? Headroom. But you hit on a key point. Like most of the time, well, first of all, that power meter is not going to be like completely accurate. But for the sake of argument, most people are never going to be using more than 25 watts. But it's headroom. So like bass punches and things like that. Also, it's just there's a different, I wouldn't say sound, because that's pigeonholing all high power amps in the same thing, and they don't all sound the same. It's a tough thing to describe. Like technically speaking, scientifically speaking, when you do the math, most people only need 5 to 25 watts. In practice, though, when I have hooked up a speaker that should sound just as good on a 25 watt amp as a 250 watt amp, it sounds better on the 250 watt amp. So you don't, in theory, need more power. But every amp that I've listened to on certain speakers, like the ELAC Unify, the first gen especially, and the second gen, just want more power. I don't know why. And it seems like even at lower volumes, when I'm not pushing those higher powers, it just seems more fleshed out. But the term is headroom, but I don't know. It's weird. It shouldn't be that way, but it is that way. Power brings out the magic. Yes. More power, more headroom, cleaner, bigger dynamics, more effortless. Yeah. But it shouldn't be that way, because even if you get a big bass hit, usually that's 10 watts max, but it just seems like these more powerful amps just completely handle it way easier. Randy, I wanted to go sound at for my living room, but thinking budget bookshelf JBL with the automatic T9 Pro. IEMA T9 Pro. I think it's IEMA. Now, I've never heard the T9 Pro. I haven't. I'm sure it's pretty good though. Also, as you have said, Rainey, analog stage and op amps make a difference too. Very much so. iFi Zen 1 signature plus Audiolab 8300A plus Sonos Favor Lumina 2 is a good combination, ? Or would you change anything? I think the only thing out of that group that I've actually heard is the iFi Zen 1 signature, which is a decent DAC. I have no experience with the Audiolab 8300A and no experience with the Sonos Favor, unfortunately. I wish I did. Somebody else was mentioning the Sonos Favors recently. I would like to get those in. I think that would be a fun speaker to listen to. Fun. Current versus watts. Randy, many thanks for helping me get back into hi-fi. I bought the IEMA A07, did the chip rolling, LOL, and using topping E50 DAC and Klipsch RB81 too. Magic. Ooh, those 81s are cool looking, man. I wish they would bring back some more 8-inch bookshelf woofahs. Unreal. Again, thanks for helping. Anytime. Wendika. Opinion on Lin Axis. I have none. Unfortunately. Hey, best stand for the ELAC Unify UB52 2.0. Pair with the Gishelli J2. Ooh. It's kind of expensive, but a pair of the A1 monoblocks from Emotiva. Pretty awesome. The A2 from Emotiva. Let's see what else. Yamaha would probably, I've ran those on a Marantz AVR, then NR 1711. I did a great job with them, and that's only a 50-watt amp, but I think it's a high current amp, as somebody just mentioned earlier. I think the Yamaha AS series would do okay with them too. I hesitate just to be like, oh yeah, that's the answer, because I think it's a little bit too thin for me out of the box, but with a little bit of tone controls and some loudness, it gets going. How does the built-in Emotiva TA1 DAC compare to the Schgitt Modi? Kind of 6 of one, half dozen the other. I think it's the 1955 Analog Devices chip that the Emotiva uses. It's a decent DAC. I think you're going to see more of a difference if you go up to a topping E50 or a JDS Labs J2. Maybe the Schgitt multi-bit. You're probably going to hear a decent difference. But I would go a little bit of a step above the Modi if you want to change out the DAC. And the JDS Labs is, you're going to definitely hear an improvement. Nothing wrong with the internal DAC. It's good, but you have to consider that whole package is $500 or $600. So, I mean, you can do the math. They have a tuner in there. They have a phono stage. They have obviously an amplifier stage, and then they have bass management and stuff. So like the Analog Devices chip is not going to be like the best chip in there that they can get. $1,500 budget. Would you get separates, Emotiva or Schgitt, or solid integrated Willinston R8 or Riga LXR speakers of the Crichton 1TDX? I would go Emotiva or Schgitt. To be fair, I've never heard the Willinston. I think that's a tube amp, right? R8 or Riga. Yeah, I don't have any experience, so I'm not going to bash on Willinston or Riga, but I like separates. So yes, that's what I would do. Emil, thank you so much for the super chat. MA 500 speakers and just got the center channel. A bit underwhelming. Stereo more open and big, though. Like center image with center. Any thoughts? I think we're having a little bit of a translation. I'm trying to kind of understand what you're asking. Just got the center channel. A bit underwhelming. Stereo more open and big? Question mark. Though like center image with center. Smiley face. Any thoughts? If you have an AVR, I would start playing around with the levels of your center speaker. Bring it up, bring it down a little bit. You could also run the whatever room EQ or room setup you have in there, and that might put an EQ on there. You could have some canceling of some phase because of the placement of the speakers. You could also move your right and left either towards the wall or away from the wall to see. But it's kind of, you got to kind of do one thing at a time. So start messing with your levels. And then if that doesn't help things, then start messing with maybe your front knee left closer away from the wall. And then you're going to have to start messing with toe in as well if you're having some type of cancellation. But I don't know if I'm understanding your question exactly. And I apologize for that. Thank you very much, though, for the super chat. If you pop back in and maybe rephrase or clarify, I can maybe help you out some more. Sorry, question was AXA35. Oh, versus A2 Mini. I have Q150 speakers and E50 or J2. Ooh, okay. I think the AXA35 has a remote, so that might be good. Q150, they're not super efficient, and Kef notoriously lies about the efficiency of their speaker. So I would love for you to get the J2. So that's actually, so you get the J2 and the AXA35, because I'm pretty sure the AXA35 has a remote, I think. Or you could get the A2 Mini with the E50 and use the remote from the E50. However, I think the A2 Mini is better suited to drive the Q150. And the Q150 is already a titch on the warm side. So you're going to be putting warmth on warmth if you put the Q150 on the 35s. So final answer, A2 Mini. If you don't need a remote control, of course, the wonderful J2. If you do need a remote control, then I'll go with the E50. Final answer. All right. J2 will be my next DAC. Very good. Did we miss any super chats? Q150 on sale, Crutchfield. I need to post that up. That's a really good speaker at $300. That's a fun speaker. I think that's the best speaker Kef makes. I know. That's crazy, right? But it's not. Like, even the Q350, like, I think the Q350, they're trying to go for the LS50 meta sound. And I still think the 350s are better than the metas. But anyway, I think the 150 is the one that sounds the best. Mr. Ruiz, Emotiva it is. Tell them I sent you if they if there's like a little thing, if you call in the order or something. Cream Circus, $5. Thank you very much. Billy Winsock, my brother, the Kef reference 5s are good. I haven't heard those, Billy. Billy's from the UK. I hope you're feeling better, Billy. I hope you are feeling much better. Ed Zach, I would try Manny Multibit 2 first. Hey, Randy, I'm planning to upgrade from AUG D10 and currently debating between topping E50 versus SMSL D6. Ooh, topping E50. I don't even have to read the rest of that. I know you weren't a fan of the D6. Any thoughts? I don't think there's anything wrong with the D6. I just think that's like much lower tier. Like, there's not as much going on. The topping E50 is one of the better DACs that Topping's made at any price. So the topping E50 is like fighting and is competing with even their LA90, or not LA90, D90 SE. The E50 sounds as good, I think, as the D90, which is a $700 DAC or something like that. Hey there, from Seattle. Hey there to you, Mr. Epstein. Found out today, Weem Pro in Spotify is 1644.1, but if you use Chromecast, do 24 bits 44.1, but the equalizer in the Weem is disabled and only the Chromecast equalizer works and sounds much better. That's cool. That's interesting. It's 1644.1. It must be upscaling unless Spotify suddenly went lossless in the last week or so. That's really interesting. But if you use Chromecast 2444.1, that's interesting. The takeaway here is that unless Spotify went lossless, it's all upsampling anyway. So it's upsampling to 16 or it's upsampling to 24. Either way, it's not bit perfect because Spotify is 320 kilobits per second, which is not 1644.1. Doesn't matter though. I mean, it all sounds good, so it doesn't really matter. Best bass for budget bookshelf. A subwoofer. I think budget bookshelves. I think actually the ELAC BS41 are probably the best bass when it comes to a budget bookshelf. And the irony is that it's a 4-inch woofer. E50 it is then. I wasn't a fan of TRS balanced. I'm not a fan of TRS balanced either, but they do have RCA output on the E50. And if you want to go balanced, I mean, at least you have the option. But I mean, I think the whole balance thing is like overstated for speakers. Like it's good, right? But I mean, and I guess if you want the voltage level, so if you have a lower powered amplifier and it doesn't have a ton of headroom, like having 4 volts versus 2 volts is better. But it's not that, like, I don't think balance is all that necessary. Hey, Randy SoCal here. What's up, Mixtress B? Polk R200 or B2 Plus? Wow. Now, this is a great question because those are 2 of my favorite speakers in that price category. If it were me, just me, my decision, I'm not saying this is right for everybody, I would be getting the Emotiva B2 Plus. Simply because I think the B2 Plus, I think they have a better top end. They definitely have better top end clarity. There's nothing wrong with the R200. And actually, I think from a bass standpoint, the R200 is going to punch harder than the B2 Plus. Overall, though, I think the B2 Plus, I'm not saying it has a better or more natural sound signature because the top end is actually a little bit more focused. But there's some speakers that just have some magic, and whether or not that's like whether or not it's like accurate doesn't matter because it's still magic. And I think the B2 Plus are more magical than the R200 for me personally. I could live with both of those speakers though, for sure. But if it were my money, it would be the B2 Plus. Just they're really outstanding. Very, very good. Very, very good. John McCargar, $10. Thank you. All my equipment is just because you said so. Emotiva B1 Plus or B2 Plus if you already have 2 subs. Ooh, 2 subs. I'd still go with the B2 Plus. I think their mid-range, the mid-range on the B2 Plus is a little warmer-ish sounding. So I like the B2 Plus. I'd love the B1 Plus too. Emil, monitor audio 500 bronze and center QC 150. 500 sounds much bigger in stereo. That's my question. Any thoughts? Skip center, greetings, Sweden. So it could sound much bigger because if you're running the center channel, then you're running some type of like so this goes back to like the AVR setup because you could be running, there's so many different settings for music. You could be running Dolby Music, which mixes things to where it wants to go. You could go all channel stereo, which is sometimes what I use when I'm listening to music. If you're going Dolby Music, then you have to start messing with levels. But if it sounds better in stereo, then just run it in stereo for music and then turn on the center or run it in a movie mode for music or for movies and TV. Got a little thing sticking on my shirt. I hope that makes sense. And thank you again for another super chat. It's very kind of you. G McGee, $4.99 super sticker. Thank you so much. Am I the only one who streams Apple through Weem? Like AirPlay? Do you stream Apple Music via AirPlay? Is weird Spotify show 320 kilobits per second and Chromecast is not showing any kilobits per second. I think Google is doing something behind the curtains with the licenses. I don't think they're doing anything with the licenses, but I do know that Android like upsamples a lot of stuff. Yes. Gilherm R5 something. Thank you. Randy, please do a review on the Sabage A30A. It's a full digital amplifier, so it doesn't need a DAC. From Brazil. That seems oddly familiar. I don't know if I did that one though. Sure. I'll talk to him. I talk to him every now and again. I'll talk to them. A30A. I know I've done the A20A. I'm looking around because I just had some out. Oh, that's a DAC headphone amp. I think the A20A is over there. And then there was one that had an ice power module in it too. Kent Langston, $1.99. It's $25. Thank you, Kent, very much. Patrick Serralo, California, $13.99. Just kidding, it's Canadian. Hey, Rainey, am I off by thinking you expected more from the Heresy? Also, any plans of having more videos with British Audiophile or other reviewers? Cheers from Montreal. Okay, so first question, the Heresy, that was a long time ago. But I think you're right. I think I was expecting something different. Like, that was my first expensive speaker that I've had in here. And it was a similar experience that I had with the KEF LS50s. I thought it was going to be better than what it was. There's nothing particularly wrong with the Heresy. I thought there was some box resonance. I also thought that the soundstage broke down with some lower treble. It would kind of pop forward and pop back. So yeah, I did expect more. It still doesn't make them a bad speaker. And I could see why people would really, really like them. And he plans on having more videos with the British Audiophile. We don't have any plans currently. He's a great guy. He popped in here the other day and said hello, which was really cool. But we don't have anything scheduled. And thank you. I hope you're staying warm in Canada. Chris G, $10. I bought a pair of vintage Zenith Circle of Sound speakers. Look them up. Replace my driver with some old Kicker. Oh, man. 6.5 coaxials and have them hooked up to an A08 Pro in my record player. They sound great. That's awesome. I'm actually thinking about doing a project. Never fails, man. Like every time I do a live stream, dog goes bananas. I apologize. Anyway, I'm thinking about doing a project where I take a set of car speakers and I pop them into like an old kind of crappy enclosure. Oh man, that dog. All right, so there you go, Chris G. Sorry about that. Now my dogs are barking. LOL. I apologize. It never fails. Every time I do a live stream, the dog goes bananas about something. And I forgot to put the dog up. Kent Langston, $19.99. Thank you. You already gave me some money, though, man. I appreciate you so much. The dog is complaining about the Klipsch Heresy. Probably, yes. I'm sorry that I made Mike's dogs bark. I didn't. My stupid dog did. Hey, what do you think about the Amplifier Denon PMA 1700 NE? I don't have any experience with that one, but I had the 600 NE and I liked it a lot. That was really good. I thought it was really good. Yamaha AS301 versus Emotiva A2 for the ELAC Unify. Oh, A2 all day long. A2, you get a ton more power. Quite a bit more power. I think the 301 is rated at 60. Unify 2.0 into 8 ohms is rated, I don't know, I think it's like 100 or more. And then into 2 ohms, it's really good. So, yeah, that's what I would do. I love dog. Do not apologize. It's live. Kevin Gardner, $2 off topic. Apple TV box versus Roku Ultra. ATV best. I like Apple TV, but this goes back to a long time ago when Apple TV was the only streaming platform that supported Atmos. This is a long time ago. However, I'm so into the Apple ecosystem at this point that I still like the Apple TV. Not necessarily for me, but for the rest of the family because they know exactly how to use it. And there's just a ton of functionality with it. So I like Apple TV. I have Roku TVs and I use their smart TV functionality. But if I had my druthers, I would actually put an Apple TV on there. For no other reason than I just know how to work it. And if I do need to AirPlay to it, it's super easy. I can also hook up Bluetooth headphones to it. The kids play the Apple Arcade, and so I can hook up PlayStation controllers to it. So yeah, Apple TV is my preference, but for those reasons, not because it's like superior or in any way. Cameron, $10. Thank you so much. J Flats, $10. Thank you so much. Best subwoofer under $1,000 for the Golden Ear BRX. Man, the Golden Ear already puts out some decent bass. For $1,000 though, I mean the sky's kind of the limit, man. I would look at SVS, and then I would look at Rel. SVS has a killer app though, and that's why I'm such a big fan of SVS. Is because setup is a snap and changing it is a snap. If you have $1,000, you could almost get 2 SB1000 Pros, which would open up a world of opportunity. Although I think they're about $600 a piece now. They used to be $500 a piece. I think they're $600. Or Rel, and I think Rel is like everybody loves Rel. I've never had a Rel in, but that's just from what everybody else has told me how wrong I am when I recommend a SVS subwoofer. They're like, you need to do Rel. I'm like, well, Rel should send me something. I don't know if this is like a bald spot or if this is just a different color in my beard. It's weird. It looks like a bald spot. I need to get some Just for Men. Paint that right in there. Maybe some shoe polish. That'd be cool. Rhythmic. Polk XT15 for surround. Exclamation point. I have some XT20s in here that are in a box, and I need to leave. Not because they're a bad speaker, but just because they're taking up room and I'll probably never use them. The rest of the family knows how to use it. That's Simon. There's a lot of value in that. A ton of value. Because every time I walk out of this house, I get a text message. The internet doesn't work. The TV doesn't work. What do I need to do? I can't get this to play. And so that cuts down on a lot of those calls. Joey G's audio channel, $5. Thank you, my friend. Cheap hair color, man. Yeah. Shoe polish. It's the cheap hair color man way. Movie Junkie John. Why do older AVR receivers sound so loud and have so much depth to them versus some newer ones? I don't know, but I agree with you. Was it just design? Many older ones are very low power rated. Yes, I agree. I think it has something to do with power supply or something, but I am with you, and I can't like put my finger on exactly what it is, but I have this old Yamaha. It is an antique. I think it's 20 years old. Old Yamaha 5.1, and it's a lot heavier. It's not as deep either, and it's really beefy compared to even some more powerful AVRs that I have that are within the last 5-10 years. It sounds better for music, and it sounds deeper. They did something. I think they just don't make them like they used to. I hate that. Like we always say that they just don't make them like they used to, but really in this instance, they don't make them like they used to. I'm listening to an AVR right now that has completely blown me away. It's coming out at the end of the month though. It's the first receiver that I've listened to that I haven't had to do some DSP trickeration to make it sound good for music. Like out of the box, it just sounds great for music. And it has to do with that depth, what you're talking about right now. Seem like the older ones are more powerful than they are. And in the 70s, like 2-channel receivers were way like underpowered. Like they would say, hey, this makes 25 watts and made 70s power is different than 2020 power. Andrew, $20, Californian. Just kidding, Canadian. I like that joke. So much that I've used it twice. Thank you, Andrew. Greetings from Switzerland. Greetings. Chris, I spent some time in Switzerland in 2005. Went skiing, went to Zurich, went to Basel. Beautiful, beautiful country. Very clean too. People were pretty nice too. Food was terrible though. I'm sorry. Food wasn't great. I remember I was in Zurich and I went to McDonald's and I ordered, like, right, I'm in Zurich eating at McDonald's, but I was. And I ordered a soda and I went to go get a refill and they looked at me like I had 3 heads. And like, I was just like, can I get a refill? And they're looking at me because they're speaking Swiss German, right? And I'm speaking English. Well, actually, one of the managers, I think, was American or Canadian. They came up and they're like, yeah, like we don't do refills in Switzerland. And I'm like, well, how much is it? Like, and this was back in 2005. It was like $4.50, 4.5 francs to get another soda. And I'm like, I'm out, but I appreciate you telling me that. It was funny. Like, there's so many things that I'm just so used to here in the US. You want a refill? You go get a refill. Nope. They also gave me like 2 ketchup packets too. They're very stingy with the ketchup packets. Ed says new aviators are chip-based outputs. Old stuff was all discrete. You are right about the power supplies. Yay! Ed knows a lot about stuff. Best sub under $400 for near field setup with B1 Plus. Best sub, okay, under $300. Ooh, it gets more difficult for. Okay, I think Emotiva has a SE8, and I think it may be under $400. It's got a passive radiator. It also has base management if you RCA out of your source. Really cool. I had it for a while. Really cool sub. Not the most powerful thing on the block, but I don't think Emotiva is also like overstating their power here. So it's better than probably most people think. But for a near field small room setup, the SE8 is great because it doesn't take up a ton of space. And it's got that passive radiator on it, which is pretty cool. I like passive radiators. And I don't like them because they like sound so much better. I like them because they look cool. Edward Laganza. Ooh, Predator. You got a Predator profile picture. Man, that's another franchise. I hope they. Or is that Godzilla? That's Godzilla. The funny thing is, though, it looks like Predator from this angle. That's funny. What material to treat reflection behind a sub? Oh, well, I don't know if you're getting reflections, my friend, because subwoofers usually don't have reflections. That's usually higher frequencies. However, you can put like any porous material, or I mean, people talk about bass traps, but they're pretty expensive and I don't know if they work. What I would try to do is move your subwoofer if you're having some issues with it. And I know that's probably not ideal, but treating a room for bass issues is expensive and I don't think it always works very well. But you can always move your subwoofer. So you can get a super long cable and start moving it around the room. Or better yet, you move the subwoofer where you normally sit, and then you crawl along the floor until it sounds like you want it to sound. And then you put your subwoofer there. Kind of funny. YouTube user, $5. Thank you. Would you be willing to do reviews for any of the JDS Labs equipment? Absolutely. I would love to. I see them compared with skit stacks all the time and measured well at ASR. Wah, wah. You started out really strong with this and then you ended it and measured well at ASR. And at that point, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Although whenever I hear ASR, I just kind of check out. I would love to. I've never talked to the folks at JDS Labs. Never ever have I ever talked to the folks at JDS Labs, but I'd love to. I mean, I think they're a US company. I would absolutely love to. I would be over the moon if I contacted or they contacted me to do it. I'd love to. Absolutely. Rainy, can you tell the difference, major difference in sound between toppings DC3 Pro Plus and E50 for DAC exclusive use? Yes, E50. I think you're saying DX3 Pro Plus, which is a decent unit. It is a decent unit. The E50, though, the reason why the E50 gets all my love is because it transitions away from that more affordable DAC sound that can be a little bit harsh on top. It transitions that to a full, rich, really analog. And I know that's a misnomer. How can anything sound like it's analog? But it does sound analog. The E50 is the first one from topping in the affordable range. That is just like pop. Okay. It sounds like a Schkit multi-bit. It sounds like a D90 SE. It sounds like the more expensive DACs. That's why I like the E50. The rest of DX3 Pro Plus, the DX5, the Sanskrit, the D6, a lot of the SU8, SU9N sounds pretty good, but even the SU9N sounds a little bit digital. Although there's like two tiers, and the E50 falls in that upper tier. I just think it sounds better, more natural, way more natural. D50S, good, but really long in the tooth. And at this point, you could get a ripoff from FX Audio, and there's another company out there that legitimately is making a D50S clone for $100 less. At the time I think the D50S came out, I think it was around $250. Very cool, very small. Has a screen on there that is pretty much useless, but I had it, and it sounded good, but it doesn't sound as good as the E50. $5. Kurt Deisner, thank you so much. Thank you. I went to make a bottle for my little one, and I come back to everyone talking about, I missed something. No. I remember those days, man, making bottles. I still have to make chalky milk. I need some chalky milk, Dad. Please review Iota VX, SA3 stereo integrated amplifier, and PA3. Amazing. Well, Wendyka, I did a long time ago, actually. That was some of the first reviews I ever did is the Iota VX. Unless they've updated it, I have reviewed the PA3 and the Iota VX SA3. I actually preferred the Emotiva stuff over the Iota stuff. And I talked to I talked to whoever's kind of running the show over there. They were very nice to me. This was when the channel was smaller. I wouldn't say he wasn't nice, but he was a bit dismissive, and then he kind of ghosted me. So that's all I got to say about that. He probably, I mean, at the time, I think I maybe had 5,000 subscribers. So I don't know. And for a while, he just disappeared too. Like, I don't think Iota is a big outfit, and there were people having issues with him. And I kept getting messages like, "Hey, this guy's not responding to me." I'm like, I don't run Iota or Iota VX. I can't help you. Anyway, grab the A08 Pro with 36 6 amp off Amazon simply for the LDAC. Thanks to you. Awesome. I love that thing. It's right here. Love this thing. Love it, love it, love it. All right. Couple more questions and then I gotta call it. Chinese food sounds really good for some reason. Like a whole bunch of egg rolls. Like 6 egg rolls. Sounds really good right now. Anyway, can I connect just J2 to the Emotiva A2 directly, or do I need a preamp? You're going to need a preamp, but you don't need a preamp in the sense that you need like a preamp. You need volume control. What you really need, okay, is voltage attenuation. You can get a analog voltage attenuator for $30 or $60, or Schkit actually makes a it's basically just a switcher with a knob. So what you're doing is the J2 is outputting, let's just say 2 volts, because usually that's about the standard. 2 volts for an RCA, 4 volts for the balanced. So it's outputting that much. And then what you're doing is you're attenuating how much voltage is going out. And then that in turn is moving volume up and down because the A2 has a fixed gain. And that's pretty much how all volume works. Now there's ladders, there's relays, there's all sorts of stuff. But in theory, you could do it that way. Or you could get a $300 you get $300 Saga, and then you have a whole bunch of analog switching. You have a remote control, and you have volume control. But that might be outside of the budget. Okay, one more. Oh, this is a tough question. If you had to choose between the Emotiva B2 Plus or the Denton 80th, which would it be for near field listening in a smaller room? Ugh. Okay, not taking anything away from the Denton because they're right here. They're legitimately, I'm touching them right here. They're one of my favorite speakers. I like the B2 Plus. There's something special about their top end. So, and if you're in a near field, you could get away with probably a B1 Plus. They're both spectacular. I got 2 super chats and then I got a roll. Maddie J, 699. Thank you. Have you tried the IEMA T9 with Zen Phono? I found it very open sounding and the tone controls really help. Is there a phono stage with tone controls? Yes, there is. I just had it actually. I don't know what I did with that. Maybe I gave that away. There was Ampapa has tone controls on it. Actually, a really good phono amp. I think it's $100, maybe a little bit more. Ampapa A1, I think it is. I have a video on it. So yeah, Zen Phono is great though. I mean, Zen Phono is hard to beat that phono stage. But yes. All right. Gurgly, $20 Canadian. Thank you. Hey, Rainey, I wanted to step up from headphones, watch your channel, built the CSS1 TDX and got the IEMA A07 with op amp upgrade. Life is good. Thanks for your work. Well, thank you, man. Thank you so much. Okay, we got one more. Thank you very much. All right, one more, and then I got to go. I just bought my first DAC, Andrew. I'm pairing it with my Yamaha RN202 KEF Q1 speaker. And again, Pro Turntables, wondering if it would pair well. Unfortunately, I don't have any experience with that Yamaha, and I don't know what KEF speaker you're talking about. And I don't know what turntable you're talking about. But if it sounds good to you, then that's all that matters. But unfortunately, I just don't have experience with any of those. But I have to run. I really appreciate all of you. I hope you have a great rest of the week. More content to come. So thank you so much for being here, hanging out with me on a Wednesday afternoon or wherever you're at. And I hope you have a great day. I might have some egg rolls tonight. Bye-bye. Bye.